Pedro Martinez eats up the waiver wire. Hi and welcome to Fantasy Move Makers, part of the Fantasy Baseball series presented to you by Levidra here on CBSSports.com. I'm Amber Wilson. Set to finally make his second start of the season Tuesday night against the Giants, Martinez climbed the charts and was the most added player in CBSSports.com leagues. Pedro's ownership fell to just 37% after injuring his hamstring in his season debut. But after a successful return in San Francisco, we can expect it to go even higher than his current rate of 76%. The three-time Cy Young Award winner yielded 3 runs on 7 hits and 6 innings of work for the victory, striking out 3 on 109 pitches. His next turn in the rotation comes Sunday in San Diego. 2 young starters earned their way onto many of fantasy rosters this past weekend. Boston rookie Justin Masterson has 3 quality starts since his call-up from the minors, while Toronto's Jesse Litch has been on a roll so far this season. The Jays right-hander has won 5 straight decisions with a strong ERA and a whip, and fantasy owners are finally taking notice. Owned in just over half of CBSSports.com leagues entering the week, Litch's stock has jumped 23 points. Minnesota's Kevin Slowey lost his start Tuesday night, but a complete game shutout against the Royals in his previous outing drew some attention. John Smoltz also made the list, but after the news broke Wednesday morning that he will have season-ending shoulder surgery, he surely will be dropped in all leagues. A trio of Rays fall just outside the top 5, but the arrival of top pick David Price on our most added list could not go unnoticed. Just 3 single-A starts without a run against under his belt so far, and Price's stock is already soaring just in case he gets the call to the show later this season. DM Wheeler's rise can be attributed to the injured hamstring of Tampa Bay closer Troy Percival, whose stock fell about 40%, the bulk of which probably comes from no reserve leagues. Percival's stay on the DL is expected to be minimal, so view Wheeler as only a stopgap for now. Many owners in no reserve leagues were forced to cut ties with Daisuke Matsuzaka, who tops the list of the most dropped pitchers in CBS leagues because of a sore throwing shoulder. But when Daisuke returns from the DL mid-month, you can expect him to be right back among the most added pitchers considering the season he's had thus far. All right, it's time to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll flip the coin and check out some hitters in the free agent pool. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Move Makers as we look at some big names who have been synonymous with fantasy production but who have faltered so far. It has been a disappointing first 2 months for the likes of Travis Hafner, Eric Burns, and Gary Sheffield, and now that all 3 of them are on the shelf, some fantasy owners have decided they'd be better off without their services for now. All 3 are hitting under 220, and their power numbers pale in comparison to seasons past. Hafner's shoulder has been bothering him since spring training and has resulted in only 4 home runs and 22 RBI, while Eric Burns, who is coming off back-to-back productive seasons with only 6 homers and 23 driven in, he will sit out at least another week to rest his sore hamstrings, while Gary Sheffield's strained oblique will keep him on the DL for at least 2. The other names on the most dropped list are no slouches either. Frank Thomas looked to be returning to old form since rejoining the A's at the end of April, but a quad injury has slowed him down, and Sean Figgins' finicky hamstring is once again testing the patience of fantasy owners. Figgins' teammate Howie Kendrick has also battered a testy hamstring, and after missing 42 games, he finally made his return last Friday to spark a rush to the waiver wire. Kendrick's ownership fell below 50%, but his strong fantasy potential caused a 33-point jump this week. Jerry Hairston has been getting the time at shortstop for the Reds and responded with a 10-game hit streak. And a pair of A's also make the list as fresh-faced Carlos Gonzalez joins a familiar one in Eric Chavez. Chavez, who was owned in just 12% of CBS leagues because of a back injury, made his long-awaited season debut last Thursday. He had 3 hits 2 days later and followed that up Tuesday with a 3-run homer, his first of the year. Gonzalez, meanwhile, is a top prospect who doubled 4 times in his first 3 games. He has excellent long-term value that pushed his stock up 21 points, but we're not sure he's going to stick in the Oakland lineup just yet. All right, so that'll do it for this week's edition of Fantasy Move Makers. Be sure to stay tuned throughout the week as fantasy experts Aaron Mack and David Gunnins help you get your lineup set for next week. And if you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch. I'm Amber Wilson. Have a great one, guys.